Maybe we're going to run out of time, so maybe it will be best for us to just make a start anyway. My name is Baphelele Mhlaba. I work for the Eastern Cape Socio-Economic Consultative Council, which is ECRF. We are a Schedule 3C public entity of government in the Eastern Cape, accountable to the Office of Premier. And this morning we are delighted to be with you. Uzwanga ke apha egambeni kwexesha ebeke wathi kum i-community radio stations zixabisile kakhulu ukusebenzisa ulwimi lwesintu ekugqithiseni umyalezo naxa abantu bethetha nabantu bakuthi. Sizawuzama ke into yoba njengoba sikule platform sisebenzise zozibini languages, which is English as well as isiXhosa. From where I'm sitting, I don't have a full view of who's part of the platform, but I do want to welcome the CEO of ECRF, which is Mr. Luvuyo Mosana. The COO as well is part of this session, Ms. Andile Silo. I can see that Mr. Andile Stofile is also part of the platform. The Ambona Xola Nozewu, who is very visible on our screens. Klabiso Gqekhana from Tanzania FM, I can see him. I must say I do recognize the face. I do want to welcome everyone that is part of this session. And I'm sure as part of the next 2 hours, we're going to be, amongst other things, engaging on digital skills. Sithathe elixesha ke lanamhlanje to not just in essence introduce the subject matter yokubaluleka kwe-digital skills. In the past, besikade sisithi these are computer literacy. Ndiyabona baladlulelo xesha lika computer literacy. Abanye bethu bafunde ngela xesha bekusekho word perfect. Kungenzeka noba kukhona abantu apha kule platform abangamazi word perfect no quadro. But digital skills have become the key component of everyone's work. In very few industries now are you able to do lo msebenzi ulindeleke uba mawuwenze ukuba awuxhomekekanga on computers and devices that use digital platforms in order to communicate messages, in order to be able to be productive in the various aspects of the work that we do. Bendifuna ke into yoba njengoba siqala nje, at least we get an idea of who is part of the platform, at least from the community radio stations. I do want to hear kubasasazi abakhoyo ukuba zeziphi community radio stations that are represented on the platform. Can I start with in basically I'm going to call out a name and then I'm going to ask that the presenter who's part of the platform to introduce themselves, and then we can be able to at least know who we are engaging with this morning. If you allow me, ndingaqala mhlawumbe maniqale Mr. Stofile. Mr. Stofile, you are literally the next person that I have on the platform. Can I ask that you show your face and you introduce yourself, sir?
Thanks, Mr. Mhlaba. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Andile Stofile. I am the Government Affairs Lead at Microsoft South Africa, but I'll be taking you through some of the presentations a bit later, but lovely to meet all of you.
Enkosi, Mr. Stofile. Can I jump to Kumkani FM? Okay. Is there someone from Kumkani FM that is behind the guest? There's a guest called Kumkani FM. You can unmute and talk. That's much better. Yes, sir. You've raised a hand. You can just unmute. Okay. Whilst you're still unmuting, can I go to Inkonjane FM? Sicela ubona lo msasazi ungapha kweNkonjane FM. That mic is already unmuted. You can just show your face and introduce yourself. Stoff, can you please mute your mic? Okay, mhlawumbe ke ngiqalisa apha kuxabiso gqirhana pha eMdantsane FM. Ngoyena muntu simbonayo apha on the screen. Mr. Gqirhana, molo mhlekazi.
I'm not sure. Can you hear me?
I can hear you very well.
Okay. Bulisil and the rest of the guys that are faceless.
No. Sikala ngolu hlobo kodwa ke sizawuthi sifike apho bekumele uba sifika khona. Siyavuya uba nawe this morning. Andiyazi uba wena wenze njani because umkhulu kakhulu kunathi sonke apha kule platform namhlanje. Andiyazi noba interest Tanzania na kodwa ke sawukhupha. Siyavuya uba nawe.
We're moving quite swiftly in terms of digital development.
Okay, all right, okay. I'm sure you can keep to share with us in terms of what we're doing. What's about? Mr. Luzuko, Thank Okono Luzuko on the platform.
Please. Yes, ukhona mhlekazi wami masibulise kubo bonke. I don't know if you can hear me on your side.
Ndiyakuva mhlekazi wami.
Oh no, masibulise mhlekazi ngale ntseni sibulise bonke ogxa bethu. Sikhona mhlekazi Luzuko Cetshwe FM.
Usuka kweyiphi radio station?
Ingwane FM thatha mhlekazi.
Oh, Ingwane FM. Oscar kakhulu mhlekazi.
Ingwane FM.
Okay. Kulela kakhulu mhlekazi. Mr. Marvin Telbrandt. Bengike ndakubona noko wena apha escreenini. Bengamelanga ntoba you can struggle to unmute. Molo mhlekazi wami.
Good morning. Morning, colleagues. I'm not sure whether you can hear me that side.
Yes, we can hear you, sir.
Morning, colleagues, and I am Marvin Blanche from Koga FM, and yeah, it's good to see colleagues again.
Thank you very much. Are you joining us by the beach?
No. I'm joining us there by the office, so I can see what is Kabisa also there. Hi, Kabis.
All right.
Thank you, colleagues.
Thank you very much, sir. Mbali Ndiwane. Hi, Mbali Ndiwane. Are you with us from Izulatemba? Okay, we can move and let me just check. Nobri has just joined us. Nobri, are you able to talk to us this morning?
Yes, good morning, you all.
Can you show us your face? Thank you very much. Which radio station are you with?
I'm from Inkonjane FM in Flagstaff.
Oh, okay. Let's see. Let's get some hunger.
Behind me. Switch off your camera.
No, you can switch off the camera, but at least we know how you look like. Can you introduce yourself, sir? Okay, njengobasilinde utata uXola Nozewu, can we move to Yandiswa Zazini? Oh,
okay. No, I'm sorry, Chair. You were breaking. Morning, everyone. My name is Xola Nozewu. Yes, I'm the station manager at Bukani Community Radio, which is based in Chris Hani District. I'm here representing the forum, the Eastern Cape Community Radio Forum.
Thank you very much. Siyabulela kakhulu. Zikhona Ndongeni?
Hello.
Molosis.
Molweni kumntu wonke okhoyo apha kule platform namhlanje. Ndizikhona Ndongeni, News HOD e-ECRF.
Siyabulela kakhulu sisi for joining us this morning. Abantu ke abaninzi bazawuqhubekeka besijoyina. And for those colleagues that are not really able to unmute and talk to us, we would encourage you to use the chat, which is provided on top of the faces. You can see where you can be able to see people. There's a tab there for chat. You can to communicate with us. It was quite important, and I think for us to be able to see the faces of the radio presenters this morning, as we are going to be communicating with all of you. My fellow guest namhlanje to introduce himself, which is Mr. Andile Stofile, who's going to be taking us on as part of this journey this morning. Ukuba sibone into yoba singazisebenzisa njani i-digital skills to be able to make better use of the various platforms where we communicate with people. We understand that you are part of radio, and that I was still part of the radio community. One of the things that was always said about radio is that the beauty about it is that people don't have to see you. You communicate, and the most important aspect of the communication is in essence the message that you are sending. As to how you look like, honestly, we will go to studio those days, and we wouldn't really necessarily dress up because it was not a show, as it were, in terms of how you look like, but you would go to the studio with a message for the people. I used at those days to be part of the radio station called Link FM, which is based up in Monty in East London. But that was a very, very long time. I do want, as I give, in essence, an overview, to say that as provincial government, kulonyaka uphelileyo siye sahlala phansi, sasayina i-agreement no-Microsoft South Africa, with an intent to invest in digital skills in the Eastern Cape. And this is part of their global program that is aimed at empowering people from all sectors to be part of the global world of the use of digital platforms in order to improve the economy of various countries. We help people to be actually part of the digital economy, which is basically where the new jobs are going to be found in the future. And siphuma kwi-COVID ke, and njengoba besikweli xesha le-hard lockdown, one of the very important platforms has always been that we were able to communicate nabantu bakuthi. Sincediswa kakhulu zi-radio stations, especially community radio stations, esizibona zikufutshane kakhulu noluntu, sizibona zikufutshane kakhulu nabantu bakuthi, zifikeleleka, nomyalezo eziwuphetheyo noko uvakala ebantwini. Namhlanje ke sizoncedisana nani this morning, nathi sifunde nto kuni into yokuba singa udlulisa njani lo myalezo we-digital skills kubantu bakuthi. Abantu bakuthi bayazi into yoba kunyanzelekanga into bade baye edameleni, baye kwi-colleges apho bazawubhatala khona imali. Siye sathi xa sithethisana no-Microsoft, what Microsoft kuthi ikhona i-content yokuba abantu bangatrainwa njani in various skills. Thina singurhulumente masenze indlela yokuba abantu bakwazi ukuba bazifumane ezi skills. Senza ke into ekuthiwa yi-portal, which is basically a website that is much more than just pictures and words. We call it a portal because inazo zonke modules that you can think of, from computer 101, in other words, from ngela xesha sasafundiswa into yoba yi-mouse le, yi-keypad lena, si-screen esi, njalo njalo. Uqala pha, uhambe ke over time ufunde networking skills, uhambe over time ufunde coding skills, uhambe over time ukwazi ukufunda even how to make your own apps. And most of these certified Microsoft courses, they are available kubantu bakuthi. And namhlanje, part of this session namhlanje izawukijonge into yoba singadibonisa njani into yoba zingafumaneka njani ezi skills. Sitheke apha ekuhambeni nasekusebenziseni safikelela kwinto yokuba community radio stations are the most important part of this journey that we are going to travel together. So namhlanje siyani cenga into yokuba not just paying attention, but ask all the questions that you want to ask around how we can make better use of the platform as we create Learn or Microsoft South Africa, to reach out to as many people as we can. Ukwenzela abantu bakuthi bakwazi ukuxhotyiswa nge skills from computers, and for that matter, I mean, we even talking about SMMEs. We're saying abantu bakuthi exesha elininzi they run their businesses manually with papers and other things, even though they have phones. And we would want to believe that through this platform, we would be able to ask into yokuba siqhobisane sibonise into yoba ii-SMMEs zingazisebenza njani i-digital skills. Benisithi ke mandivule ndihlahlele njengoba abantu bemane bengena besokola. With me, I'm not alone, colleagues. You will see that I only allowed quite a few people to introduce themselves, and it was literally because those were the people that I could see on the platform ukuba basebenza in various radio stations. Kodwa ke ndine colleagues zami ezininzi on the platform. As I indicated earlier, ukhona u-CEO we-Eastern Cape Socio-Economic Consultative Council. Nabantu endingathi bafikile pha ku-10 abalapha on the platform. Dr. Pelisa Dana, Ms. Zanele Silo, Mr. Nzwana Makawula, abaninzi kakhulu esisebenza nabo apha e-ECRF. Kodwa ke bona, as much as Dr. Magyebi bezawuhlomla much later on, I do want that at least Mr. Luvuyo Mosana asibulise ukwenzela into yoba noko athethe on behalf of ECRF as we continue with the engagement. And then ngemveni koko sawukhawuleza sisondele pha ku-Mr. Andile Stofile oyena ozasinika i-presentation asicacisele ngokubanzi ukuba le program ingantoni and le program singayenza njani ukuze sikwazi nyani ukuba ifikelele kwinjongo nezimiselo ibibekelwe kuzo. Tata Mosana, I'm hoping that you can hear me, Fago. Besingathanda noka ubuliswa nguwe this morning as the leader of this organization esisebenza kuwe. Ukhona Tata Mosana? Okay, sawuphinde simkhangela uTata Mosana ukuze akwazi noko ukubulisa indwendwe zethu this morning. But as we move, Stoff, I do want to check with you and ndibona isandla and siboni kodwa basi isandla sikabani kodwa sikhona isandla siphamile. CEO Mamusilo ukhona? Unga unmute nje wena ma'am uthethe nathi this morning.
Oh, sorry. I'm not quite sure why the camera is blank. Can colleagues see my face perhaps?
No, asikuboni. Asikuboni tu use-radio nyani. Siyakuva that kodwa wena asikuboni at all.
Oh wow, okay. No, I thought let me take the opportunity Chairperson, to welcome this initiative and just I think express excitement in the fact that we have had so many responses to this session. Because I think you will lead us to a very insightful discussion going forward. I think with CEO perhaps he did indication that he is a little bit engaged, but I think he will come in Mhlaba at the tail end when I Chairperson. I just wanted to express that. Thank you, Chair. Over to you.
Enkosi kakhulu Mamusilo. Bethuna ngu-second in charge wethu apha e-ECRF lo ugqibo othetha nathi namhlanje. Ndiyabona wena into yoba ebesondele kakhulu phaa kwi-radio because asikhange simbone kodwa simvile ethetha. Enkosi kakhulu Mamusilo. We are going to be engaging. We have until 11:30 together. My time right now is 9:31. And I do want to take this opportunity to criticize kutata Stofile ukuba aske asithathe through on the introductions zalento singayo namhlanje. Tata Stofile ukhona namhlanje?
Yeah, ndikhona program director ndikhona.
All right, okay. Uye wabhalwa kweza posters kwathiwa you are a government affairs corporate lead at Microsoft South Africa. Andizuzifunda ke qualifications. I-qualifications abantu zinto apha ezixabanisayo. Abanye bade bathi funeke size nazo sibhale i-affidavit into abanyani nazo ezethu. Kodwa namhlanje I think into ebalulekileyo is that uzawukwazi usigqithisela lo myalezo ubalulekileyo in these community radio stations that are part of us this morning, and we'll be able to craft a way forward. Ndizalivula bethuna ixesha lokuba sikwazi ukuba sithethe sikwazi ubuza imibuzo sikwazi ukuhlomla kule program yanamhlanje and mhlawumbi Stoff, if you would allow me, then just before you come through kukhona isession nje apha encinci ebisithi just before we talk at length about the program itself, that besingafuna into ba uXola Nozewu, who's the Eastern Cape Community Radio Forum, akwazi usinika nje 10 minutes ethetha about innovation and community radio stations in digital age. Mr. Nozewu, are you ready?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir, I am.
Singakunika le mizuzu ilishumi ukuba uthethe nathi about the innovation for community radio stations in digital age.
Yes, Chair. Ngos, Chair. Njengoba besentshilo ndibulise wonke umuntu okhona apha. Besentshilo igama lami Xola Nozewu, the station manager for Community Radio. But on the platform, I'm representing e-forum community radio stations up at Eastern Cape that is called Eastern Cape Community Radio Forum. What we do as the forum is to assist one another as fellow radio stations that are based in the province by sharing experiences that we go through, and as well as sharing business ideas, skills, because asifika ngexesha elinye apha ku-industry abanye ke bana experience, abanye ke they went through a lot and all that, so that's how we share. But also what we do as the forum is to when we work with provincial structures, we opened ourselves as the forum to ensure that we are able at least to accommodate provincial offices and national offices that want to reach to community radio stations in the Eastern Cape. So what we do, since we do synergy programming, we'll have one presenter and link all our member stations. We're about 26 member stations in the province. We link them at once, and then we do, if you want that 1 hour program, and then we link you for 1 hour and you broadcast to all the community radio stations at once. So that's part of the job that we do. But the people that are actually running the program are station managers of all these community radio stations that are 26 as members in the province. Chair, I will just take this time to say just a few things about how COVID has also waken us up as the community radio stations, especially in the province. We were caught napping when COVID came in. To such that we were not ready digital as radio stations. We had to make sure that we move with the times swiftly. It's not easy At the same time, we had to make sure that since there were lockdowns and all that, as community radio stations in the province, we play our part by making sure that we bring education closer to our people about what COVID is and how people can make sure that they are safe and all that. So we had to play that role. We play that role, especially because most of us as community radio stations, we are based in rural areas where there are a lot of challenges, even in terms of network and all that. So people really relied on us on the hard lockdown times around the province. We had to make sure that we on our toes to make sure that we accommodate the provincial government and all other important stakeholders that were in the field to actually teach our people about the dangers of COVID and all that. But at the same time, as we're doing that, we had our own challenges as community stations. We had to make sure that we are skilled. We are skilled as our staff is skilled in all these community radio stations, which I still feel that is a huge challenge on our side. So workshops like this will not only assist us with skills, we are also under-resourced as the station, as community radio stations in the province. Resources like your PCs and all those things, so that we are able to reach to people. We're also expanding our networks now, not to only rely on radio frequencies for us to be able to broadcast, but at the same time to use social media platforms so that we make sure that we expand our reach even beyond the radio frequencies that we are licensed to broadcast on. So those are some of the skills that we need. And in terms of networks and all that, we also, as I'm saying, that we are based in rural communities, most of us, we also have challenges in terms of connectivity in our areas. There are no service providers and all that. So I think my appeal on this workshop will be beyond just to reach, to assist you as stakeholders to reach to our communities, but at the same time, I would be very pleased if you can maybe look at as well on how best we can also upskill community radio stations, and also how best we can be assisted resource-wise as community radio stations, so that we are able to play the meaningful role that we're supposed to as the sector in this province. So I wouldn't like to waste too much of your time. I think I must pause there.
Siyabulela kakhulu mntaka Nozewu, enkosi ngokusibekela ngokuselibala at least injongo nenhloso yale program ye innovation for community radio stations. And I must say kukho umfo apha okuthiwa nguZwanga Mokhudu. Zwanga, are you able to show your face? And Mbono Zwanga, there he is. This man has been on my case, ladies and gentlemen, since joining ECRF about community radio stations. Now I'm a product of community radio stations, you know, from way back, as I briefly touched on that earlier. Kodwa le ndoda indihlelele about the importance of community radio stations to the message that we are communicating to people as government. And I've realized that it's not just about, in essence, community radio stations, but it's about the people. And we fought for this. We fought for these licenses to be given to communities. Ukwenzela into yokuba umyalezo obheka ebantwini ungasoloko ingumyalezo ophekwe phaa kwela candelo le-SABC, kodwa ibe ngumyalezo okwaziyo into yoba uqonqwe ngokufanelekileyo kwi-communities, and that we are able to touch on and speak about izinto ezenzeka kufutshane nathi. So I do wanted to acknowledge Uzwanga, you know, for fighting this fight and making sure that we do put our resources and we put Lendo City message here in what we believe in. Uzwanga, I don't know if you do have a voice for radio, do you, Mr. Mkutu?
No, not at all, Mr. Mhlaba. Thank you.
No problem. Thank you very much, colleagues. Prastof, all right, Mhlekazi. Ungakwazi. Ngelishwa ke yaqonda asinalo elaxesha lokuba sithi sisabheka kwintengiso and better prepare you sithi sisayothengisa sizawubuya so ready. Kodwa ke you know how to do this thing, and a number of platforms that we've engaged on. Mr. Stofile, who fortunately actually comes from this province. I understand as far as he tetekele yokuba ungumkhaya, kodwa ungacinga into yoba njengoba elapha nje ukweli phondo lethu, kodwa hayi uphaya eRhawutini uqelengela khona, kodwa amaxesha amaninzi siyathetha naye sibonisane ngento yokuba singaliphuhlisa njani iphondo lethu, phondo leMpuma Kapa, ukuze izinto ezikwazi ukwenzeka kwezinye indawo ngokwehlabathini jikelele ziyakwazi ukwenzeka nalapha kweli phondo lethu. Tata Stoff, mandinikele kuwe Mhlekazi.
Thanks, Nozewu. I'm hoping that I'm audible.
Very audible, sir.
Wonderful, wonderful. No, thanks once again, Program Director. I think Kala Mankahlele apha kuni izidwesha nanzi dwanguba on the call. Nganganensi bazayo njengoba uprogram director sitsho elami igama nguAndile Stofile. uAndile Stofile umntana waseMthatha. Phofu ke yekani nje uba ndichiphe eRhawutini. Mina ngwaseNcambele. Ilali yakuthi kuseNcambele. I think the protocols have been observed by program director, so I won't go into that. Program director, allow me mhlambi to break up my presentation into two. Mandithi mhlambi the first part, which I'll take about 20 minutes, and because I think it's very important to, before we even go into what is this investment and partnership that we have made between Microsoft and Ipondo. So I think just the context so that we understand, but this thing is not because dizalule apekaya or apepondweni, but it's actually a bigger thing. And then just, you know, as Mr. Nozewu was saying, how are we then able to impart his skills? So we'll do then as part two, just a live demonstration, nothing hectic, just a live demonstration. And then in fact, a program direction, when you mention things like, oh, we're perfect, my children would call you a BBT, born before technology. So maybe as part of Mkhabulo, is just to maybe take the journey in terms of the role that e-technology can play, to enable economic recovery from, and this is a global phenomenon, not just a South African phenomenon, but the role that e-technology can be able to play within the economic recovery, because ultimately, as the skills that we're speaking about, is to make sure in Doba, we're able to get abantu out of the poverty gap. Ultimately, and you can only do that if the country is functioning optimally. And so hence the, just to address born before technologies, just to speak about that. Now, the reality, colleagues, is that the way that abantu use technology makes their lives easier. And I think COVID has shown. And this reality has always been part of industrialization. Now, let's take, we say we are within the 4IR, but Lendo Lena the born before technologies, this started in the first industrial revolution from the steam engine to electricity. Within the second industrial revolution, from oil and gas to electronics. Within the third industrial revolution, from telecommunications and of course, computers. And so, this reality has shown since the first industrial revolution is that people, communities, countries have had to evolve. They've had to adapt and learn new skills and ways of working. And therefore it means, we have to be able to embrace these new technologies. And, research has shown, the countries that have embraced and have adapted the fastest are the ones that have been able to grow and succeed. And I think, South Africa is no different. In fact, not that I think, I know for a fact, but South Africa is not different. And also, I speak about the fourth industrial revolution. And now, it's quite clear, for South Africa to succeed, it's going to be very, very important, to understand, how do we embrace and also be able to leverage digital technologies to be able to advance our country, to be able to advance Abanbaguti, and also to grow the economy. This does not just apply to South Africa, but also get to the home of legends. And I think, as Mr. Nozewu was saying, that the media fraternity, community radio stations are not immune to his ways. So as part of Khawuleza, I thought man beg in context for as it born before technologies, as I said, so word perfect. So that's from la era we fourth industrial revolution. Now, in terms of Khawuleza, I think it's also quite important just to, so that nani ni born into, this is not because Andile was Eastern Cape, but actually this is something that is driven by policies, is driven by government who are trying to assist, for us to be able to recover. And so you'll remember that President, I think it was about 2 or 3 years ago, I think it was, about 2 or 3 years ago, President formed what they call the Presidential 4IR Commission. And Law Commission Leyo was really there. The objective of that was to advise government on issues of policies which are relevant, on strategies and action plans to be able to position South Africa as a whole in this global digital economy, and therefore be able to leverage the opportunities which I spoke about earlier on, the opportunities that are presented by 4IR, because you'll remember that at the time we were speaking about the 4IR, but it almost was a foreign concept because we World Economic Forum the time then. So it was almost a concept and we didn't understand how does it apply to South Africa. And hence the president then formed the Presidential Commission on 4IR. Now, Prof. Marwala, who was the chairperson of this committee, I think it was about August, September in 2020, as the chairperson of this committee, then handed over the report to the president. In fact, it was called the landmark report because it was the first of its kind. And this was just, a combination of all the hard work. Yes, the commissioners who were part of the commission. And really, there were 8 key recommendations. I won't go through all of them, but I'll specifically speak about these ones which are relevant within the Digital Skills Virtual Innovation Hub, which I'll speak to later. One of the areas was around building human capacity in the area of 4IR. Now, this human capacity, you can easily translate that into digital skills. There was also an issue that said that, look, as a country, how do we then establish a National Artificial Intelligence Institute as a country? And also is, so that we make sure in challenges which are faced in South Africa. In fact, let's take it to a Pondweni. how do we make sure that we incentivize and make sure that the SMMEs are able to also adopt as FOIA technologies, so that local problems are able to be solved by local SMMEs, because your SMME is best equipped to be able to address the problems of that particular community. So that was the first one. What you then had out of that, remember I spoke about building human capacity in the area of E4R. Out of that, then we then had to have a policy as a country, because government works to get policies, so that again to prevent Andile who want to do certain things because they come from the Eastern Cape. And so one of the things that came out as strategy was called the Digital and Future Skills Strategy, so that we're able to implement the recommendations that came, the 8 recommendations that I spoke about, particularly, recommendation number 1. So to be able to implement, those recommendations. And so, I mean, this was a department called the Department of Communications and Digital Technologies. So this was gazetted, this Digital and Future Skills Strategy. So it was gazetted, and therefore it's a policy, here in South Africa. And what this thing does, the strategy, there's a series of initiatives that are going to equip South Africans to be able to meet the challenges which arise from the adoption of digital technologies. Because the adoption, like I mentioned before, is going to impact on the world of work. Again, Mr. Nozewu spoke about the fact that community radio stations were caught napping COVID, and therefore the world of work of community radio stations had to be able to adopt. So that also they're able then to implement a mandate of educating society and communities. And so, you then had within the strategy, there were 8 key strategy elements. And you have the strategy element, which was focused around how do you build basic digital skills, basic to intermediate digital skills. And also then how are you able to build advanced digital skills? And also making sure that these skills that were built are built for what they call industry and society 4.0, to be able to bridge the digital divide. So you then had that particular policy. Now, again, as a country, we therefore had to make sure in Toba there is a plan that we are all following, so that you don't have Eastern Cape doing one thing and then Western Cape doing something else. And this plan was called the Economic Recovery and Reconstruction Plan. And it's still, again, I mean, if you listen to the state of the province, Upremia will always speak about this, because Ipondo is a subset, and all actions that they do are a subset of this economic recovery and reconstruction plan. And this plan, very basically, what it does is it looks at how are we able to reverse the impact of COVID-19, the negative impact of COVID-19. So we reverse that, and also then how are we able to reposition the economy so that growth that we have, it's not just growth that will suit abantu Baphelele Beacon Bay, but we make sure that this growth is inclusive, and also to be able then to attain the growth levels that will even, they'll even surpass the pre-COVID levels. And so there's 2 particular sections which become important, APA. There's the one which speaks about, again, the communications and digital economy. What this section within this economic recovery and reconstruction plan, what it speaks about is the potential that digital communications and the digital economy have to unlock inclusive growth, which I spoke about. And that growth then, or the communications and digital economy, becomes an enabler for economic growth, economic reconstruction, and recovery. So that was section 4.5, if I remember correctly. Section 4.6 particularly then deals with, so if 4.5 deals with the opportunity that the communications and digital technologies, the opportunity that it presents as an enabler for economic reconstruction and redevelopment, for us to be able to leverage and be able to get this potential going. we need to make sure about the skills development. And so that section 4.6, if I remember correctly, then speaks about and stress from an economy point of view. And when I say economy, I mean end-to-end citizens, I mean everyone. We need to be able to reskill and retrain the workforce, including community radio stations, so that we're able to have a very skilled base for economy, for industries and also jobs of the future. So basically, Lendolena, what it speaks to is the demand and supply side. So when I speak about supply and demand side, so if there's demand in terms of these are the jobs that are currently available, we need to make sure about the skilled workforce is able to supply those. Hence, I speak about demand and supply. And so in terms of just Khawuleza Lona that I spoke to earlier on, now, how in Microsoft, where does Microsoft come in? And what is our role then in terms of investing in the country based on zonke izinto that I spoke about? Now, if you recall that last year, Premier in his State of the Province spoke about the fact that the Eastern Cape province has entered into what he called an empowerment partnership with Microsoft Technology, Microsoft South Africa. And the intention of partnership layetu is really in the Eastern Cape is to drive digital transformation in various sectors, including the media sector. And to be able to realize there's a vision called 2030. So to be able to realize the vision of 2030 and making sure that within the Eastern Cape province, we've got an educated and skilled citizenry end to end. And so in August 20 last year, in August, Ekomani, we then launched what we called the Eastern Cape Digital Skills Virtual Innovation Hub. And this was again led by Premier and also the CEO of Microsoft South Africa. And really this innovation hub focuses on 3 areas. I won't go through all of them because, I'm just looking at it, but it focuses on 3 core elements. The first one is around the skilling of youth and communities, which we call the designated groups, in lack of a better word. You've got the skilling of SMMEs, as I spoke about earlier on, Indoba, to be able to solve local problems, you need to make sure, Indoba, you've got local companies, SMMEs, which are on the ground. And then the third one is the skilling of government officials. Now, the skilling of government officials is to make, because government, the only role that government has is to make sure that they're able to deliver services to the people. And so if technology, we are able to use that to make their role easier, then that's what they must do. But however, what you find is that we want to make sure within the Eastern Cape province, if government goes and buys technologies from a Microsoft, abazutenga technology masithi mhlawumbi eye Rolls Royce, but bayisebenzise as if it has. So you want to make sure they are able to use technology learner that they've bought, and therefore you need skilling of as government officials to be able to use the technologies which they bought. And so this, as I mentioned, was launched. Now, Eastern Cape was selected as the first province. And why? Again, it's not because I'm from the province. Why is that? So let's look at just some of the statistics. So in South Africa, Eastern Cape has got the highest official unemployment rate. And ulo unemployment rate, the majority of the unemployed is the youth, and in particular, the rural youth. And so, you also then have the challenge of local citizens within the Eastern Cape not having access to tools that are needed to participate within this increasingly digital economy. And so, Classic Jonga, these challenges, again, I'm going to why the Eastern Cape. Classic Jonga, these challenges, and these are not all, the challenges that exist. I'm just mentioning, the critical ones. So, Classic Jonga, these challenges, and also see Dibani Selondo with the request from from the president and also the premier. They speak about the social compact for economic recovery. So these are the things that became the driving force to be able to implement the first of its kind. I mean, ladies and gentlemen, this is the first of its kind in South Africa. The first of its kind digital skills virtual innovation hub. Now, again, this is to provide the skills and the tools just to mitigate against as a triple challenges of poverty, unemployment, and inequality. And so what is the aim for this Digital Skills Virtual Innovation Hub? And it's very, very clear, is to develop a critical mass in terms of making sure that we've got critical digital skills for citizens of the province. Now, what we know is that over time, these skills, will support building of this digital economy to be able to unlock the inclusive growth, which I spoke about with economic recovery plan, so that we make sure that there's economic recovery within the province. So we know that, these new technologies and the impact of COVID-19 within the job market are demanding that abantu have their own digital skills, so that nabo as abasasas, you are able to remain competitive. As abasasas, you're able to remain relevant, so that you are able to advance your profession end to end. And so, Tina, as a Microsoft, what we want to do is to make sure that we help every citizen epondweni, and we're able to help every organization, and every organization means in Toba, whether it's big business, small business, NGOs, but we need to make sure in Toba we assist every citizen, every organization to prepare them for this digital revolution. Now, of course, this journey is it's a long journey. I mean, it's not going to be a short journey. And so, Tina, what we believe as a Microsoft is that for this to succeed, you have to have a combination of you have a combination of partnerships. We need to make sure that there's also trainings that happen, but also you've got training for the sake of training, and I think there's a lot of training that happens, but the training isn't relevant so that it speaks to the real world experiences. And we need to make sure that can happen, because then what we want to do, and Upremi again speaks to a knowledge-based economy. And we have to make sure that we leave no one behind, within this thing. Now, ECRF, are responsible for implementation because they have provided infrastructure to be able to host platforms which we have invested and made available that make up this Digital Skills Innovation Hub. And so, as I'm mentioning, we have developed and provided these are global platforms. It's not just particularly South African based, because when you look at even these certificates that you get, these are global certificates. It's not like because we're in South Africa or Eastern Cape, there's a special dispensation. No, these are global certificates. And so platforms, which I'll speak about, I'll only speak about three, which is the Cloud Society, which is a Global Skilling Initiative, and Microsoft Community Training. Those are the ones that I'll speak about, because those are the ones that I'll see onto the portal layer ECRF. Those are the ones that you're going to find. So let's then look at Indoba. What is this Digital Skills Innovation Hub, right? Is the first thing is we've realized Indoba within this 4IR you have to have adoption of cloud services, right? You have to have that, and so in response to that is we've then introduced the Microsoft Cloud Society program within the Eastern Cape. And what we have seen is that, there has been a lot of people that are registering, because unfortunately we are in the cloud environment. We work within the cloud environment. I mean, it seems Leonard that we are doing, is hosted on the cloud environment. And so all Zoom and everything, when you use Gmail as your email account, that is hosted at Google, which is in which is in the US. And so everything that we do now is hosted within the cloud, rather than you've got the equipment office in Kabani, so let's speak about this Cloud Society and this program. I'll also just do a demo. So this program, your Cloud Society, is basically geared towards making sure citizens of the Eastern Cape, those ones that want to be, in the space, they want to be experts in the space of cloud computing. So it's designed for that. And what we do by that is that Tinasne platform, which is called Microsoft Azure. So we do this by deepening his skills within Microsoft Azure to be able to, once they've got the Azure skills, they're able to build the next generation of systems and also solutions from, in the cloud. So, people that go through this platform are able to also develop Gmail wabo, because like, as I mentioned, Gmail is hosted in the cloud. Now you can imagine in umdana or say, a Coffee Bay or Andile, if they're able to use these deep technical skills, cloud skills, to be able to build innovation and solutions, for South Africa, you can imagine what it means. So you've got this portal, which is the Cloud Society, which sits under ECRF. And this portal has got over 1,000, technical courses. And these courses, by the by, as ikethwanga by Mr. Mhlaba, these courses were driven by the demand within the Eastern Cape province. And so you've got these very deep technical, courses, and also, there is soft skills. But also included with that is content, Japan. This is what I think is important. Content which is on the Cloud Society is really structured on practical experience. It's based on the practical experience, and there's another number of interventions that Abantu then will get once once they are on the platform. So it's a very technical platform. To become a Microsoft Cloud Azure expert, and we do this by providing. We've made sure for the Eastern Cape these trainings. You've got free online trainings. You've got e-learning pathways, which I'll go through. You've got a lot of other resources, and also you've got events, which are which are geared towards this. So that is number one, the Cloud Society. Number two then becomes what we call the Microsoft Global Skilling Initiative. Remember, we are taking global programs and saying, how are we able to make sure we benefit the Eastern Cape province? So the Global Skilling Initiative, how it started out, in fact, during the COVID, whereby we said as a Microsoft, globally, we want to be able to retrain and reskill Abantu, 25 million people, globally, using the assets, meaning companies that we have within Microsoft South Africa. And so, for an example, we own LinkedIn. So how do you take LinkedIn and make sure the courses that are there, we're able to make them free for citizens of the Eastern Cape? So we really IndoScience is really, we brought to South Africa, to the Eastern Cape, the best of the resources of our global companies to be able to reskill and retrain Abantu. Now, there's really three areas within the Global Skilling Initiative. And coincidentally, the Global Skilling Initiative, we started, let's say, pilot, and there were three areas. When we did the launch, it was Alice, and I need to remember the third one, when we launched this thing. Now, there's really three areas. So the first one is that because we own LinkedIn, and the LinkedIn is the biggest, I call it labor broking, because it's got the highest number of e-professionals, globally, and also, in terms of in terms of companies and organizations which are looking for, these professionals. And so using data there, we were then able to say, but what are the most in-demand jobs? And therefore, Tina, in response is, we want to make sure we skill Abantu to match these in-demand jobs. That's the first thing. So that demand and supply, which I spoke about earlier. What we then did was to also say that we will then make sure access to e-learning paths and content becomes free to be able to assist Abantu then to be able to be skilled, to be able to have the skills that these positions require. And then the third thing is that, there is these certifications that we made sure as yafikeleleka from a costing point of view. Now, these certifications, typically, because these are global, Microsoft global certifications, what you will have is that a cost typically will be $100 US, $200 US. Now, depending on the exchange rate, my city go 4,000, 5,000 rands. Now, what we then did is to say, look, for Eastern Cape, we're going to make sure these are 15 US, depending on the exchange rate, again, would be 250 rands. Now, you can imagine, and this is specifically for Abantu abalahlekelwe ngumsebenzi. You will remember that, SAA, as an example, they were going to retrench 3,000 people. Now we had to make sure ababantu aba xa bephuma and bahleli emakhaya, Some of them want to be, IT, professionals. So how do we make sure Indoba at least is able to afford 250 rands rather than affording 3,000 rands, which they don't have. So you've got, as I mentioned, you've got access to free learning content, and this ranges from your basic digital literacy skills to advanced skills. And these are high quality. I mean, on LinkedIn Learning, Tina Emsebenzini is our primary source of education and certificate. LinkedIn Learning is that we are making sure that we avail to citizens of the Eastern Cape are the things that Tina, from a South African and a global point of view, these are the trainings that we have to go through. So I spoke about as our in-demand roles. So we've got in-demand roles like your customer services specialist, digital marketing specialist, you've got, project management, Zininzi, you've got sales, Zininzi, that, were identified. But look, we have to train Abantu in these ones so that they're able then to be relevant. You also have, again, I mean, for Abantu that are technical, you've got what you call, I call it, it's called the GitHub. Now, in GitHub, basically what it is, if you can imagine, Indoba, license, you have to have e-learners plus practical experience. So if you take e-certifications that I was speaking about earlier, now you've got the certification. Now you also need to make sure, Indoba, you to be able to practice. So we've got as labs so that Abantu are able to take the content, which is theoretical, and be able to apply that practically by practice. So again, we made sure Indoba these things, we basically avail them. We also have, a lot of tools that we've made available to be able to assist, again, these job seekers to be able to get hired. Including within that is what you call the soft skills, because the problem is that because we are virtual, there's other things that need to happen. So if soft skills become important, I mean, there's a course which I did, which was on digital etiquette. So how do I present myself when I'm doing this presentation? So as a soft skills are those are part of what we are making available to the citizens of the Eastern Cape. So that's point number 2. And then you then have point number 3 in terms of what we call the Microsoft Community Training Platform. So this is an online learning platform. And it allows for urhulumente and also communities, but it's there to run, in mass e-training programs for government internally, but also for external communities like yourselves, for volunteer organizations, so it's basically you're able to provide these. And what it does is that the platform learner provides personalized learning for large-scale mobile-based community workers. And so, in Andile, what we've done is because we can understand, Mr. Nozewu spoke about just some of the infrastructure challenges. Now, what we then did was to make sure, one is that the visual is in ways, right? So that it's easier because these are very much community-based. They must be visual-based, right? And we therefore also then made sure they don't consume bandwidth such that azizufikeleleka. So the idea was that these things you are able to you're able to access. And so, hence, it's geared towards immobile devices, tablets, smartphones, and therefore you are able to access as the courses anytime and from anywhere, from each choice of each devices that you have. Program Director, I think, and I think I've exceeded because when this negate 20 minutes. So maybe let me take questions if you'll allow me. But I thought, it's going to be quite important before singing into the demo or the practical application so that we know the investment that we are making as Microsoft and where does it come from, and it's not based on Andile or Suga Pepondwin. Nozulu, manbuyisele kuwindamo.
Ndiyabulela mntaka Stof. Bendisenza kuqanda ndifutshane kakhulu ekukunqandeni kuba kaloku singabantu wena abangaqhelanga apha kunomathotholo intoba sike simamele ixesha elide kangaka kungakabikho umuntu ngomnye uthethayo. Kodwa ke I think it's quite important the message oyigqithisileyo this morning. Just to contextualize the program and what it does want to achieve. I do want to, as I'm looking at my charts, do want to address a few issues. Pamela uthi ukuthi sound ayikho kwicala lakhe. I'm not sure if you've been able to have sound restored. Please do give us more feedback on the chart. Ndijonge kwakhona into yokuba ndinesandla esikhoyo esivelileyo COO Zanele ingaba ikhona into ofuna ukuyibuza before sivulele abasasazi bethu namhlanje ukuba bakwazi ukubuza imibuzo based on the presentation abathe bayifumana this morning. Hi Zanele.
Thank you, Chair. Ndiyabulela kakhulu Mhlenga phambili. I wanted to apologize, Chair, that I didn't disclose that the meeting 10:30 evela ngoku. So bendizawucela Chairperson just to have a first bite mhlawumbi ubutstof.
Please, go ahead.
And yes, and then mhlawumbi ngoku we have the rest of the time that is allowed for the colleagues from the radio stations to literally engage with the content. I'm not sure about where ndivumela na Chair.
Qhubekeka ma'am, siyakuvumela.
All right. Unfortunately, Chair, I got to IT. I would have hoped abantu bangayibona face yam, but it doesn't matter. My camera, I don't know, for some reason, is a bit blank, but as long as abantu they can hear what I'm trying to say. Let me start by saying, Gustav, I really appreciate the content and the context that you present in this regard. It's much needed, and I think it's so packed and compacted into one. Your issues around your reference to the economy recovery plan, and I think for me, what I also further appreciate is the fact that as much as you didn't go to priority number 2 in terms of the provincial plan of action, you've intimated around economic transformation, which priority 2 talks to that, and job creation. That has 41 interventions that we are planning in the province in terms of the latest pronouncement by the Premier around job creation. And I think in tandem with that, it was clearly indicated that digitization and jobs of the future are becoming a very key critical area of investment. And I think also emanating from the investment conference that was held nationally, these are the issues or the thematic areas that are coming up in this space. But let me ask this question maybe. How are we dealing with the disruption? You might ask, what is disruption? The future of work is not what we know work to be historical. I think we've all grown out to know that work is, almost paper-wise based or, humanistic based. It was not based or aligned to technology and digital spaces. So we are moving to the space right now, as you correctly indicated, through the 4R, but also I think the lessons learned from the pandemic teach us to say we need to be agile in that regard. So there's a little bit of a shift that has happened, and I dare say I don't think it was gradual, but we had to literally wake up to the urgency of the agility and adoption of the new world of work. So how do we deal with that? That's the first question. But the second one is that for me, what skill set is required? Because remember, we need to invest in our young people in this regard. And for me, it then starts from the alignment to the NSDS fiscus and targets that cascade obviously to province. And I think for me, maybe a suggestion as a last comment when I check is that maybe let's look into the the sectoral skills plan of the various sectors, and in particular, the sectors that deal with technology and ICT, and look into the soft and the hard skills that are in high demand, but also look into the hard to fill skills that we have not been able to fill in the province. Because I'm saying this because it's critical for us to be able to say, how do we then align a curriculum? It starts even at primary level, this projection. And I think we are late. I mean, take China. Already, whether I'm done 3 years or 4 years, they're able to navigate an Apple iPad, and they're able to, conduct their homework in that space. So yes, we are not as advanced, but I'm saying perhaps we need to start at that curriculum level and that investment space, and align that with the skills that we require in that regard. Mandi pele up the chat because I don't want to be long. Did you place those issues on the table? Because as I said, I just need to duck. Apologies for not tabling that. I just got a reminder that I need to be out of the meeting in about less than 10 minutes. Thank you, Chair. And ask about Stofile and the entertainer color. Thank you, Chair.
Maske sizame uthatha umbuzo wesibini Mamsilo, and then just allow Stof to at least answer to 2 or 3 people. Mandivule bethuna ukwenzela into yoba sikwazi ukubuza. Uxabiso just posted on the chat that there are possibly some of us who do not fully understand this course. And I do understand that we are a multilingual province. Some of us speak South Sotho, some of us speak English, some of us speak Afrikaans, or as they say, Prat Afrikaans, and abanye bethu bathetha isiXhosa. We will, in the context of responding and in the context of engaging, try and make use of more of English. And Nkosike Xabiso for that. Is there a second question before we allow Stof to respond to the question that's on the table? Dr. Pelisatan, are you still on the platform? Oh, yes, you are.
Yes, I am, sir. Yeah.
Yes. Dizamile ukuyifunda le question. Khayibuze ngokwakho mama apha ku Stof.
All right, thank you, Puti. Mr. Stofile, was wondering whether this is only for the radio announcers, or is it possible for ECRF staff members to be part of it, especially because coding will be used in future in almost everything that we do. And as an organization that is all about economic development of the province, maybe as staff members, I think we would be eligible. So I just wanted to know whether we would be able to attend or be part of these courses as the staff members of ECRF. Thank you.
Ngosi Doc for the question. Siyabulela, is there any other question? Tata impendulo to these 2 questions that are on the table right now. Stof?
No, thanks, Mr. Mhlaba. I think let me start with the Doc's question. Doc, I think you know, the person who needs to be what it is in English, but the person who I think needs to take the blame for not, you know, for not making sure that question is answered specifically, you know, for ECRF is Mr. Mhlaba and team, because these platforms are not just geared, it's just that today, of course, it's for the community radio stations. We are targeting today the community radio stations. But if you recall, what I'd mentioned, Doc, was that there's 3 areas or target areas. There's the skilling of, let's call it the designated groups, people with disabilities, you know, the youth and women. That's number 1. Number 2 is the skilling of government officials. I made the example of making sure that when government invests, ECRF invests in Microsoft technologies, they are able to use the investment, they're able to use it and optimize it. So meaning that you don't go and buy, best of breed technology, the Rolls-Royce example that I made, but use it like a TAS, meaning an entry level. For that to happen, you need to make sure that you've got the right skills from government employees to be able to do that. I hope that that question is clear, but I think Mr. Mhlaba is to blame, and the team for not making sure that this question, it does not become a question, especially because one, the partnership is with ECRF as the implementation partner, and secondly is that all of these courses, which have been carefully curated, sit on the ECRF website. So that portal, so it sits on the ECRF portal. I hope I've answered that. Doc?
Yes, sir. Thank you so much. Thank you.
Excellent.
I'll take it up with Mr. Mhlaba.
No problem. I think the previous question. Look, it's a multifaceted question. I think one, as I mentioned, I think it was a COO who was asking the question. I think that in giving, and maybe this is why I spent a lot of time in Khawuleza, the first bit of my conversation, because it is a conversation, because I wanted to make sure that we are quite clear that this is not something which isn't done in isolation of national policy. It's not something that is done in isolation of the provincial strategies, provincial, visions 2030 and all of those things. So it's very much in line with, it was tailor-made, very much in line with the aspirations of the province, the policies of the province, to make sure that the province is able to leap into the digital economy, and therefore by leaping into the digital economy, we're able to have economic growth. Now, what skills are needed? I think, COO, we identified 10 which are needed. And as I mentioned, that these go from a digital marketing specialist, sales representative, I can't think of them all at the moment, but all the way to, information security specialists and deep technical. So it's very much a business-led and also very much a technical-led. Those are the ones that we identified, and these are the ones that we have availed to each and every citizen, each and every government official, each and every person of the designated groups. It's available now. You can actually, that's why if you go onto the link which I've posted, which is exec.org, and we'll do a practical demonstration. If you go into that and you scroll down, you will see there's a section called the Virtual Innovation Hub, and then it's broken up into skilling of youth, communities, and I can't remember the third one, but I will go through the demonstration. So I hope also I've answered your question, COO. If I haven't, please, add the things that I've forgotten.
Through you, Chair, I think I'm predominantly covered. Stoff, thank you once again. Chair, can I be released in that case? Sorry, I didn't raise my hand, actually. That was not good for me. But Chair, can I, because of time, I thought maybe Khawuleza is possible. Just to come through to you and say I need to maybe talk quickly. Thank you, Chair.
No, thank you very much, and thank you for joining us today. You are released. Can I just check? Ukuba, are the other colleagues from our radio stations by Fumene the whole picture? Dinganento ke eti Stoff from Allsworth usandul fak ninayo into ethi ngela xesha sasifunda kwakukho into okuthiwa zii-tables. Uthi xa ungena esikolweni ekuseni kufakwe ii-tables kuthiwe 2 times 2 4, 4 times 2 8. It used to be a daily thing. So this messaging about the importance of getting the message across to everyone, so that we all could have a better understanding of how best can we be able to access the portal, is quite important. I'm going to ask my colleagues to take the link and put it on the chat, which is the link that connects all of us to the portal. Ukwenzela into yoba whilst we're still on this platform, even before you can actually do the live demonstration, because we thought that part of this session could equally be about a live demonstration about how to make use of the portal. Because we can empower everyone that is on this platform, and that person can empower 5 other people. And we hope that those 5 other people will also empower 5 others of theirs. Our target, colleagues, is for us to be able to get to 20,000 people that are registered on the platform by end of the year. So we're saying the platform is there to be used. The more people can know that there is computer training, digital skills are available for free. And when we say for free, it means we're actually paying for you to get the modules downloaded on your phone, downloaded on your computer. You can actually start the learning process. And then there are some of the certificates that you actually have to write exams. And we have been actually engaging the sitters to be able to support this initiative, so that possibly as people actually get to the part where they are ready to write exams, we can look at a subsidy model, so to speak. So in a nutshell, I do want to give the opportunity to more of our guests to be able to actually engage. Andrew, you are welcome. I see you on my screen. Do you have something that you would like to say? Hi, Andrew. Are you able to unmute?
Not at this point in time, sir. I'm still listening.
No problem at all. Thank you, sir. Xola Nozewu, I see your hands.
Yes, Chair. No, I was listening to Mkulwa presentation yake iyavakala kakhulu. We really understand it. I'm just wondering to then say, from here, how best can we maybe take this forward? Maybe as a partnership between all the stakeholders that are here and community radio stations, not only as platforms to reach to communities, but to ensure that they are also capacitated and at least are met halfway resource-wise. It might not be by the stakeholders that are here, but beyond this, and other programs that might be of much importance to communities there. Thank you.
Okay. We are going to think more about it, because I think between myself, Mr. Stofile, there's that young man who was here called Zwanga. There is something that we're thinking about in terms of how better can we be able to support the program from a resource perspective, because as we say, the message must be out to all communities that there is internet training, or rather there is computer skills training that's available to communities. And like we say, we've actually subsected the training such that you can actually join and do basic computer skills literacy, which means you can even go and join and be able to learn more about how to use Word, how to use Excel, how to use PowerPoint, how to use Power BI, how to use
Look, I think let's take it offline. I think certainly, I mean, you know, the partnership that we have had to date has been one which is based on what is the needs of the province, and therefore we then create, you know, programs, investments, or whatever in response to that. So I'm saying I might not have the answer, Ngoku, but however, in the spirit of the partnership that we have had for the past, you know, year and a half, whatever, we definitely will look at what are the creative ways that we are able to bring the muscle, Microsoft, to be able to respond to these kind of needs.
All right, thank you, Stoff. There's another hand that I see. Hi, Pamela.
Hello. Can you hear me, Chair?
Yes, I can hear you.
Hi, Chair. Yes, thank you. Thank you so much, Chair, for this program. It's really exciting. But now I think it's just a comment. With us, community media, you know, we have a challenge of resources, you know, like computers, laptops, or iPads. So in order for us to be really involved in this digital economy, we really need those resources. Those are one of the challenges that we have.
All right, we've noted that, Nzwana. I hope you are preparing an answer to that. Can we take another hand? Hi, Pamela, your hand is still up. Do you still want to continue?
No, I'm done, Chair. I'll remove it.
All right, okay, thank you very much. Nzwana, do you have a thought on responding to the request?
This feels like an ambush. Good morning to you, Chair. Good morning to the colleagues and our important guests. I feel like Pamela did not finish her question. I don't know if angaphinda gqibezela ubrekile or towards the end, so that we can see how we can dibanisa inhloko with the colleagues and see how do we advise to the best we can. So ndicela aphinde, especially the last part of a question.
So in terms of what specific resources they're talking about?
Yes.
Okay.
All right, Pamela?
All right, Chair. I was saying that, you know, the community media, we lack resources, particularly gadgets like computers and, you know, laptops, things like that. So for us, it won't be easy to really participate in this program without, you know, the required resources, like as I've mentioned them. So is there any way that you can maybe able to assist community media with regards to that?
Okay, so when we're talking about resources, we're talking about equipment. So we're talking about computers, we're talking about laptops.
Yes, gadgets, computers, laptops that are relevant to this particular program.
Okay, can I then get a sense on as to how colleagues are joining this morning? What kind of resources or what kind of devices are you using to communicate with us today? Nozewu, I'm gonna put you on the spot from a radio forum. Membership yakho ijoyine njani namhlanje? How do you best communicate as radio stations?
Yes, Chair. Some of us, most of us are using the available connectivity that we have on the stations. Some are using their personal phones, some are using their laptops, but there is quite a number when I see on our group here that could not be able to be part of this meeting due to connectivity challenges. But on what is Mrs. Pem is saying, I think what we need to do, Chair, maybe is to beyond this meeting, as Mr. Stofile is saying, we need maybe to sit down and see how best we can maybe look at the sector and look at the needs of both partners, that is ECRF and Microsoft South Africa, and see how best we can assist as radio stations, so that at least we can have something from here, and then we have a way to move forward using the platforms and also trying to meet each other halfway. Thank you.
Okay. All right. No, thank you very much, Nozewu. Iyavakala uba what kind of resources are we talking about? Nzwana, is it much more clarified on your side, this question now?
It is much more clarified, and I'm certain that a response to that can be ongoing. I also believe that it can join taking offline after this meeting, so that we can see how continuously do we engage with our colleagues from the community radio sector. And just to say, Mrs. Pam and other colleagues, that she would admit now and agree in the issue of connectivity, whether it's through using gadgets or equipment or the internet connectivity, it's not necessarily unique to radios. A lot of parts of the province are still struggling. Others with the clear connectivity. I'm sure Inkonjane FM will attest to this. So it's something that is ongoing, that we can bring other colleagues that we work with to see how best do we attend to these problems. We do interact with the internet service providers, like EC Internet, all of you agree. We can bring them on board and see how do we engage on this. What are the packages that can be affordable by the community radios? If they can make discounts for them, I don't know, but it would depend on the nature of discussions. So it's part of what could be an ongoing to best assist the community radios. And it is appreciated that some colleagues have joined using their cell phones. In fact, I was going to, I'm glad you asked that question, because also to respond to Spam, that some of these training programs that Mr. Stofile has referred to, you don't necessarily have to have a laptop in front of you or a desktop. You can attend other trainings using just your own smartphone. So that can be broken down, and we see how best we can work with this. Then the last point would be, if a radio station perhaps wants to take the entire staff into a training, experience has taught us that partnerships are the best in getting this job done. Most of these community radio stations are nearer to TVET colleges, are nearer to universities that have got fully fledged computer labs and internet. A mere MOU would take them through there without paying any money. Those are some of our experiences that we've seen in some of our training programs, where we would use a facility without having to pay for it, but we just meet and engage. So those are some of the avenues we can explore as the colleagues and see how they can be assisted with a nearby organization that we know best. Thank you, Chair.
All right, thank you, Nzwana. Siyabulela kakhulu for that. We do see as well the responses that are posted on the chat, and I see colleagues are saying we're using our own personal devices, and that abanye Nobri is saying usebenzisa ifoni yakhe, and Andrew as well is saying we use our own personal devices. And yes, we will, as Luana has indicated, I think as part of the engagement that we're going to have with the forum, raise these issues. And I think the important thing is that as we seek solutions, part of the reason why I was raising the question I was raising is because as we seek solutions, you know, we start where we are. We maximize the ability to be able to communicate and talk amongst each other, and then from that basis we build on. It's really going to take a lot more than what we currently have to get to 20,000 people registered on our platform, and being able to enjoy the benefit of having a cost that you would ordinarily pay 6,000. Some courses you would have to pay more than 10,000, and these courses being actually made available through a website, which is www.exec.org. And when you get to the homepage, you can be able to scroll down until you see the links that are speaking to computer community training platforms, which are under exec.org. We have posted the links on the chart, and we are going to be asking that as we have posted, that you click on the links so that you can be able to access and be able to see what exactly we're talking about this morning. I do want to take more questions before I can ask Mr. Stofile to demonstrate to us. They just do a live demonstration of the Microsoft Digital Skills Innovation Hub. Can we do that? We would do want to give people an opportunity to ask any question. And it's quite important, colleagues, for you to understand that there's this platform was actually made for you so that you can ask all the questions that you want to ask. There is no right or wrong question. We entertain all the questions that you have, because it's actually quite important for us to move in unison, sing from the same hymn sheet for those that go to church. Ungathi ucula useyakudumisa kubakho abacula ulezala isidinga lakho. So we need to make sure that our information is on par. Zimvo Sikongoto. What is IFM, if I may ask? Zimvo, can you be able to hear me?
Can I answer the IFM question?
Yes, Polan, you can.
Oh, okay. IFM is a new, I think they were formed 5 years ago. They are an Indian or Muslim station. So they are part of the Eastern Cape Community Radio Forum.
Okay, no problem.
They are based in PE.
They are based in PE. Uzimvo uyakwazi usiva kodwa yena, I hope. Let me give you an opportunity. Were you not going to ask a question when you unmuted?
I've been pinned the
I can see your hand.
Molweni dad. Ndingusine South Community right. Nonzopenda kwecala IFM. IFM inkonjane community right. Not Indian community right.
Not the other one. Okay, Gesine. So is it Sne or is it Sine?
Usine dad.
Usine. Okay, Nkosi Mhlaba. I must say when I said snare, Ben Lidl soprano, go kukuti butena bu bass, double beat. No,
Xola, please.
Ubuso govela waveza ubuso siyabulela kakhulu thanks for joining us this morning colleagues any other question before we can go to the live demonstration? No other question. All right. Andikaxoli ke yazi ndingakamva la msasazi ebesijoyine apha wasezwile Themba umbali umbali bendimbize ekuseni ndisamkhangela nangoku intoba Mbali, are you with us?
Dada, let me apologize on Mbali's behalf.
Right.
She urgently went on to a meeting, so I'm representing Izule Themba. Dinguloiso Magisi, part of the PR department yakon.
Okay, singakwazi ukubona ebusweni Loyiso?
All right, apologies regarding that.
Oh, thank you very much. Thank you. And thank you for joining us. You might want to check and ask why I'm insisting on seeing people. I mean, this is really part of what we're doing in order to get to know each other and maximizing actually the platform, which is the Microsoft Teams platform, to be able to communicate. Singathethi nabantu abangabonakaliyo. As much as we're on radio, but I've seen radio has actually moved in leaps and bounds because these days radio is actually doing live streaming on social media platforms. So it's not just about communicating through a frequency, but it's also about sending a message through live streaming. So we've seen radio taking that angle, which is quite interesting. And it's actually part of a journey that I think for those radio stations that are not live streaming their messages and their presentations and their shows, hopefully we can actually get to that level soon, where radio can both, be on radio frequency, but equally be on live streaming. And it will be actually quite interesting to see some of these radio shows that you have, watch them through Facebook, watch them through YouTube, and watch them through even Twitter Spaces. In fact, I was actually thinking, stuff ungandibeti, indoba, one of the things that the next dialogue that we should have. Other than on Microsoft Teams, maybe we should try and, as we graduate in learning about these different platforms, we have the next one on Twitter Spaces. It's just one thought that I have. Stoff, I am trying to check and see if you're ready for the live demonstration.
Yes, sir.
All right. Let me hand over to you, sir.
Okay, wonderful. So colleagues, we've put the link of the ECRF website. Let me just go into that so that I'm hoping that I did see one or two colleagues saying that they've got a challenge in, I'm just trying to put my screen up. They've got a challenge in registering, and so I'm hoping that my screen is visible. The ECRF website.
Yes, it's visible, sir.
Okay, wonderful. So as you can see that there is the link. Now, what you then do, now remember when I presented, I'd said, but there is 3 platforms which are behind the ECRF website. It's Microsoft Community Training Platform, which is really geared towards your communities, because it starts from digital literacy and then it goes up. There is the Global Skilling Initiative, which is the 10 in-demand courses, which is driven by LinkedIn Learning. And then there is the Cloud Society in a Box, which I spoke about in terms of developing world-class cloud experts. So I'll be taking you through these three particular platforms. So if you go into the website, you will then see that you've got, when you just scroll down, you will then see that you've got the Microsoft Virtual Innovation Hub there. Now, I've already registered. Now let's maybe go, and I want everyone just, to follow me. So let's go on the scaling of communities. Now, let me just check who is unable, because that's why I'd ask that you register. So when you register, you put in all of your details, and then it'll then send you an SMS. You then put in that SMS, and these are just security measures because we are asking for your personal details. We are also making sure that we follow the POPIA regulations that we have within the country. And so can I maybe just ask, and I'm not going to be able to see the screen, so please do just unmute yourself. Is there anyone who is unable to register? Okay, so I guess then that everyone is therefore able to register. So when you then go, you will then see that this is the front end of the website. Now you'll see Wuti. It then gives you, when you go here, in fact, if we just go to the course library, because the course library, if you remember that I said that we've got carefully chosen courses, which are, the province found to be quite important. Now, if you just scroll down, now, let's say that you've got, people that are particularly interested in the cloud and just getting basic training within the cloud. They're able to go, click on, as you saw, I clicked on that. And then what it'll do, remember I said that these are largely video based because we want to make sure, these are accessible to everyone. Now, within this cloud concept, you will then see that, there's various modules that you have. So for an example, when you click on what is cloud computing, or introduction, whatever, it'll tell you that you then have to, you want to view the lesson. You click on, view the lesson, and then it'll take you through, all of those things. Now, I just want to then take you back. Let's just do. Okay, just give me a second, please. Why is this thing now? Just give me 1 second. Okay, there we go. So I'm hoping that you can still see the screen. So again, scaling of community members, you go to course library, and then you can see all of and I'm just going to, scroll down. So you've got, I spoke about the cloud concepts and just getting that basic understanding. Now we spoke about the SMMEs as part of this. Now, again, this particular one is, that's why it's geared towards communities, because it really takes it to a very basic level. Now you've got these courses which speak about, building my business, creating my business. How do you explore the market? Financial. So it really takes you through the entire, let me call it, life cycle of your own business as an SMME. So if you go to build your business, what it'll cover, it'll say, how do you build your business? What about resumes? What about all of these things? So it's just got a lot of things that you are able to. There's entrepreneurship questionnaires, and really these are geared towards assisting those people that want to build. And by the by, this also applies to to yourself. So you would then go and click on register, but you don't register again. This is just to make sure that this is to make sure that the system is able to capture that you have done this course. If you saw in the initial, what it said was that I'm on 0% complete. of the different courses. Now, every time you log on, you don't have to start from scratch. And this is why then, you have to register every single time. But that registration is not putting in your details, but it's merely just almost like, an attendance register, so that when you then move out of it and then come back a bit later, it's able to say, this is where you ended off. So that's the one for building your business. Now Mr. Mhlaba did speak about the digital literacy, so starting with what is a computer, working with computers. If I just click here, you will see that what it speaks about is what will be covered here. So every time you click, what the content is going to be. So what is a computer? What are the types of personal computers? What is an operating system? Because again, we do recognize that in our communities that we serve, some of the people do not have, this basic level of understanding. And in line with what I was saying of making sure that we leave no one behind, these are, the investments there, in terms of courses that we are making. So that's the digital literacy, and you can just scroll down. You've got Microsoft. How do you create, SharePoint? Mr. Mhlaba spoke about SharePoint. How do you use, these different tools? How do you use Microsoft Excel? What is Microsoft Excel? How do you use Microsoft Excel? So it's really, from a digital literacy point of view, it's really, taking us into, if you just look at this particular part, which speaks about Microsoft Excel, it almost gives you, because Tina, we are so used to these things that it's easy for me to go and create a table. It's easy for me to use formulas. A lot of people are unable to do that. And so, it gives you, you see here, there's formulas and functions. So it literally takes you through a very basic, level in terms of Excel. You'll see here, people have got email addresses, people that want to, that have bought a Microsoft license, they want to create and send an email. You can see that, you've got these particular courses. So it's really making sure Uguti no one is left behind and stuff. You can certainly go through this in your own time, but I thought, let me just start there so that we've got that understanding. Now, let's then move. Let me just do this. We'll then move into the one which speaks about the, the skilling of youth. Now, the skilling of community, as I mentioned, it's powered by the Microsoft Community Training Platform. Now, you then have the skilling of youth, which is largely just, and by the by, this is not just for youth. If you guys want to use the Cloud Society program, you can certainly log on. It does not ask, or if you are a born before technology, it does not say you're unable to do this. This is freely available. However, what we wanted to do is to make sure that we've got focused areas of intervention, and the youth, as I mentioned before, because of the youth unemployment, this is why then we particularly said skilling of youth. So what you can do here, you can go and register, and you will then see that what you have, if you click on the top, you've got what they call learning pathways. So let's maybe, and this is basically the courses that you have. Again, let me just pick startups, right? So those businesses that want to be startups, it then gives you, what type of business suits you. As you can see that it says here, what you are beginners. So, what types of business suits you. So it'll give you a number of, courses, video-based, so that you're able to say, look, this is the kind of business that suits me. Am I entrepreneur? Because sometimes, like myself, I'd love to go into entrepreneurship, but I really, if I go through this thing, I'll then realize, good, he has known, entrepreneurship is not cut out for me. We've got the issue of how do I finance my business. As you can see that it gives you an indication, good, this course will take 14 minutes. It'll take 14 minutes, 13.5 minutes, because these are really trying to be at a very basic level. And then you then have within the Cloud Society you then have the technical components, which will give you, I spoke about the Azure Cloud. It gives you all of those courses within that. Again, let me just go. There's another one which I'm looking for. if you click on the one which is written K-12, again, always remember I'm saying no one must be left behind. Now, our children also must be able to participate in these things so that we don't start them, when they're in tertiary, but our children need to be able to start with these things. Now, coding skills. UCO had asked, what are some of the important skills that we have? Coding becomes a very, very important skill. Now, we need to then make sure that our children also, while studying in school, are able to go and study coding. And so, you've got games. It's basically like game based, like you've got Minecraft. Now, hour of code basically is really, it's an hour. Maybe let me just click within that. It's really an hour whereby, okay, let me just close that, whereby we take, children through gaming, the concept of cloud computing, if you will, or being in the cloud and programming. So as you can see, I mean, these are the things they're very much geared towards children. As you can see that we spoke about the fact that we've got resource challenges. So it asks the question, if you don't have the internet, you're able to download the offline version, because we are, quite clear around just some of the socio-economic challenges that we have in the country and also within the Eastern Cape. So, there's all of these courses, and it's very, very fun. It's very, very fun. There's also, free workshops that are there. You are then able to find workshops, and these are in the main, a number of global workshops. So, it gives you also, again, for these, for the children, it gives you some of the inspiration so that they're also quite inspired, to be able to use these things. So I mean, these are just, I won't go through all of them, but I thought, let me just, take you through some of these courses that you have within the Cloud Society program. And like I'm saying, you click on the top here is, learning paths. You also then have, for those, who want to be certified, you also then have, certification. So they go through the technical components. So here it tells you, you either choose, let's say you go into Microsoft Learn. Microsoft Learn is the one which is really geared towards your technical certification. Now you're able to choose where you want to be certified. So whether you are a developer, whether you're a security engineer, whether you want to be, a solution architect, all of these, or a data scientist, all of these courses, they're there, they're available. And of course, I mean, as I mentioned that, these are, we've really worked to be able to, to subsidize some of these. And as Mr. Mhlaba had mentioned, that they are working with the CETA so that even that 250 rands, they are able to subsidize, even, even if it goes back to the original pricing, they're able to subsidize for these ones. So, AI engineers. So as you can see that these are very much global certificates, and these are the certifications which are really needed in the new, in the new economy. So this, I mean, again, you can play around. You've got those that want to renew their certificates. You are able to, to go and renew those for free. So it's, I mean, it's quite, you can see that it's quite exhaustive. So that is really, if you go into the ECRF website, I'd really, encourage you to go and really play around. It's not difficult. It's very, very easy. As I mentioned, that just remember that, under this one, skilling of youth, anyone can join. It's not just for the youth. Anyone can join. Skilling of community, skilling of government officials, skilling of community. As I mentioned, I'm going to keep repeating some of these things so that we are quite clear. So when we speak about the skilling of community, we really started from the base level of digital literacy, as I showed you, and then, we then go up, up the value chain. The skilling of youth, the Cloud Society program is really a technical platform which is then able to gear, which is able to gear everyone, who wants to be at a deep certified level. Within that, also you have, if you play around, you have the soft skills, which I spoke about. So I've now covered the two. The two platforms, which is the community training platform, and also the Cloud Society program. Now there's another one which we worked, as I mentioned, that we launched this, we did training at Komani, Alice, and I can't remember the third one. You know, so basically it's called the Global Skilling Initiative. If you remember in my presentation, I spoke about the fact that what we wanted to do is to bring all of Microsoft companies and resources to be able to target 25 million people, of which, of course, you know, as of last year, we'd, you know, done 28 million. So I'm going to now click or open up another website that, you know, that you'll be able to access for this particular initiative. If you just give me 1 minute. And again, these are all available to yourselves. And hence, I'm requesting that, you know, you play around. So just give me 1 particular minute. Let's try again. I'm just trying to log on, so please do excuse me. I'll also put on the link. Okay, here we go. So, Mr. Mhlaba, please confirm you can see the one that's written Mzansi Digital Learning.
Most definitely see it.
Okay, wonderful. So basically, we have partnered with an NGO, and this NGO has been able to assist within the Eastern Cape province to be able to deliver some of these things. Now, remember, and this is based on the, you know, it's based on both the, again, it's also based on Cloud Society, but more importantly here, it's based on the Global Skilling Initiative. Now, within this website now, what we have done is that, remember I said we're starting with the Eastern Cape, but we are then going to roll this out into other provinces. And so what we've done so that we don't, you know, start now, because, you know, there was quite a heavy investment that was made. We learned some of these lessons within the Eastern Cape. And so we've then centralized everything into one particular portal around the Global Skilling Initiative. So, you know, after this, you know, going on to this, you know, this platform, which we have worked on with the NGO called Africa Tech Services, which is very much, you know, geared and works with skilling of people. So these are the things that, you know, you remember OBE, outcomes-based education. Before you even open a textbook, you must know what you're going to get out of it. So let me then speak to the 10 in-demand courses, which I spoke about earlier. So you've got, you know, customer services specialist, sales representative, project manager, graphic design, financial analyst. And I think, you know, the course which I will just, you know, at a very high level show, which is, I think, is particularly applicable to, you know, now you know, to yourselves as, you know, as the community radio, you know, representatives, is, you know, digital marketing specialist, but certainly it's not closed off to that. You've got digital marketing, you've got graphic design, you've also got, you know, sales representative. So if you click then on the, I mean, if you go down, these are the, you know, the really technical ones, data analyst. And in fact, the, you know, the people that we trained, Ekomani and Alice and all the other ones in the Eastern Cape, those we trained them in data, in being a data analyst, because we wanted to make sure that, you know, people that are residing within communities, they have the opportunity to have technical skills and become data analysts. So again, let me just go to, you know, your digital marketing specialist, and it's going to open up shortly. Now, I mean, I just quickly clicked on these ones. Now, for yourselves, right, is you look at the, you know, the collaboration and management of content digitally, introduction into freelancing, communication skills. So let's just go into communication skills as an example. If you remember, I spoke about digital etiquette. May I just request?
Okay, it's muted. Sorry,
okay,
Stoff, we live one. All right.
Okay.
Sorry, I muted somebody now.
Thank you very much, sir. So when you then look, because you guys are in the business of education, informing, and therefore then communication skills become very important. Now, you know, Mr. Mhlaba spoke about the streaming component, meaning that you cannot hide, or you're not hiding behind, you know, your desk. So, I mean, these, I mean, for example, the course on communication skills, you know, I've had to do this so that I'm able, when I'm doing these webinars, I'm able to speak for you. I'm able to speak to you in an efficient manner. Now, you know, you've got, you know, verbal and non-verbal communication skills. You've got example of body language. You've got example of, you know, of active listening. To your, you know, to your listenership. You've got facial expressions, and I'm just going to click on facial expressions. I mean, you know, it gives you, you know, a number of things on facial expression. So, for an example, it'll show what is a face of anger, contempt, you know, and those kind of things. So you go through all of these courses, and then what you then have is, you know, you then get a badge that says that it's a certification badge that says that you have completed, you know, this particular course. So let me just again, so that, I mean, if again, you know, the digital marketing, as I mentioned, you know, you've got all of these courses that are there, and as you can see that, you know, I've logged on, I've opened, you know, I've opened one, so it gives me that it's a 6% complete. When I finish everything, it's going to go to 100%. Now, you know, so what you can then do is just to go, you know, is you go on course library again. This gives you then the full suite of currently what exists. Now you'll see, Uguti, a lot of these are also on the community training platform, which is on the ECRF website. As I mentioned, that what we wanted to do so that this is accessible to everyone across South Africa, we then have centralized all of those programs into this one particular website. So you know, so again, you saw I spoke about building your business. So all of these things, you know, are here now. Here's the important part for you as Abasasazi, is because you guys are content and content creators. So again, I mean, it speaks to things like personal branding. It speaks to time management, platform management when you are using these various platforms. There's one which I think becomes quite important, is sales skills, because these become important because communication means you're selling. I'm selling to you what these platforms, you know, what they have. And so, you know, I need to be able to communicate, but also at the core have sales skills. So, you know, these are, you know, and this is also, I mean, you can use in businesses, but, you know, you look at what will be covered here, emotional intelligence. So it's not just your IQ, which, you know, which is important. You've got sales techniques, which are here. How do you make sure that you are able to effectively network for business, you know, market analysis, analyzing computers. So you can see that this is quite detailed. So that at least Abantu, when they come out again, you know, they've got a lot of knowledge. I mean, pricing strategies, conflict resolutions. These are things that are very, very important for businesses. These are things that are very important for, you know, for employees and people like yourselves who are in the business, the content creation business, basically. So, I mean, these are just, you know, some of the courses which, you know, which exist on this on the platform. I mean, you can pick another one. I mean, I've spoken about sales representative. You know, looking at graphic design as an example. You know, and you go into course library, you know, so you'll then find that there is, so I spoke about the creative economy. I spoke about, oh yes, I did also speak about the in-demand skills. So you'll then find, Uguti, in fact, here's what's important as far as I'm concerned, is you have soft skills, and these soft skills is, again, I've spoken to you about those soft skills. So you've got all of these courses which currently exist, and are really there for the taking. Mr. Mhlaba, let me hand over back to you, and maybe take some questions if there are questions, if you'll allow me, sir. I don't want to do what I did earlier where I took more than the allocated time.
No, Siyabulela kakhulu Stof, talk about a live demonstration, ladies and gentlemen, on what the platform actually has, and what you can be able to register on, and what you can be able to be exposed in. And I mean, you would have noticed that the courses actually as in a level where you can say you are truly, as they would say in English, computer proficient. that you actually don't need a single skill that you can be able to get. All you have to do is to log in, register, and start the training. But before I assume that all of us have been able to grasp how best you do this, let me take hands. Ian Assam is a colleague of mine here at ECRF. I see your hand, sir. You can just show your face and start talking. Ian, I've acknowledged you.
Yeah, thank you much for that. Just a few things, Chair. Number one, it may seem very overwhelming for a lot of the colleagues here. So I think I'm not sure whether we're able to sort of have sort of intermediary services where people can phone and just sort of try and sort of limit sort of the people hopping around and being able to understand exactly what is being offered here. I know it's maybe a bit difficult with the volume of people that may want some sort of some level of service. Because again, it's a very useful initiative, but again, it could be overwhelming for someone that may not know, maybe under pressure in the short term to get an income, or may have a shorter term sort of priorities in terms of what to do first and what to do next, because maybe also they need some help and assistance. So maybe just talk through, but again, is there any way in which someone who is stuck can perhaps receive some guidance or facilitation or whatever to know what to do next? Let me stop there, Chair. I've got follow-up questions, but I think that in the main is just to try and maybe limit some of the stress which I see may come out. And maybe the second comment I'd also like to make as well is that as people can see is that to be successful in this endeavor, it requires a lot of structure by the individual. In other words, you must manage your time well. You must be able to structure your day appropriately and make sort of regular time in your diary to do these courses. Otherwise, you're going to just start, and then before you know it, it's just going to be something that you've forgotten about on day 20 when it's a golden opportunity to take advantage of this opportunity. Let me stop there, Chair. Thank you.
Thank you, Ian. I see Nozewu. I also see Makazi Wetsako. Is there another hand? Okay, manqale ngawo mntaka Nozewu, then ndize kuMakazi we.
Okay, no, I think the courses are very interesting. I just wanted to check the issues around accreditation for the courses.
Accreditation for the courses. Question noted, Stoff. I hope you've noted that. And then Makaziwe.
Good morning, sir, ladies and gentlemen. I am Makaziwe Tako from Gobela FM. I was actually also going to ask about accreditation for the courses. And also, is there maybe a way that if they are accredited somehow, they can maybe use them outside of the industry that we're in, maybe apply for a job somewhere else? Are they going to be recognized as well?
All right. Thank you for the questions. Kambi, let me take the first question from Ian and then give Stoff the other questions. Ian, we've got a project team that's actually led by Nzwana Makaula, who's on the platform. And that team must actually be able to put together a support to this. There's actually absolutely no reason why we can't be on standby. And we're gonna put a number or numbers before we end the call, together with email addresses, so that colleagues can be able to make a follow-up and talk specifically to people so that they can be guided on how to register. If they are struggling to register, they know that there's a number that they can call so that they can be assisted to register, and also be able to assisted to choose courses. When I was still active in learning, the best way to learn is to actually try, you do something. So what I would really want that the colleagues do is to actually go to the platform, try and register. If you've got a challenge with registering, then you are able to at least ask questions on the basis of the difficulties that you are having. If there is a course that you are looking for that you can't see, at least you would have gone through the library of courses that are there so that you can be able to at least say, I've looked here, I can't find it, and so on. Aleme, I've noted you, but let me ask Mr. Stofile to quickly respond to the question on accreditation.
Sure. No, thank you, Chair. So there is two kind of learnings that you have here. So the first one I spoke about, the Microsoft Global Certification, the ones that I said that, $200, $300 US. Now, which have been, have been worked on to be subsidized. Now, those are global certificates, right? I did mention that there's no special dispensation for South Africa. These are global certificates. So if I'm an AI engineer in South Africa, that certificate applies in the US because I'm an AI engineer, I'm certified, it's a global certificate. So that's the first one. The second one is that if you remember, I also spoke about, LinkedIn Learning and the analysis which they've done to be able to come up with the 10 in-demand roles. Now, that one, I think what you're trying to ask is, are these ECRF approved or those kind of things? No, they're not. Because the content, it's not static university kind of content. The content always changes. It gets loaded like digital body language and all of those things. What we do is to get experts in these particular fields from university, from business, et cetera. We leverage our networks. We get these people so that it's practically applicable and not just theoretical. If you want theoretical, of course, you go into the certification or the certified, but these ones are very, very applicable. They're very relevant, and they're always getting updated. Now, let me maybe make an example of myself when it comes to accreditation. Now, because now I am on LinkedIn, so it's more important for me to have LinkedIn accreditation, than and remember, it's a personal choice, right? It's more important for me to have LinkedIn accreditation more than anything else. So I'm just going to go onto my LinkedIn profile, and I'm hoping that it's going to it's actually visible. Mr. Mhlaba, please confirm, is it visible on your side?
Yes, it's visible, sir.
Okay, it's wonderful. Visible. Okay, wonderful. So let me just make an example here. With myself. Let me just go down. Now, it speaks about, license and certifications. Now, there's a number of them which, which I've done, but I'm just giving you just a summary. So, so what happens is that when I finish the course, it then gives me a LinkedIn badge to say that I've finished digital body language, I've finished professional networking. Now, the reason why you won't see, all the other ones is because we've got our own LinkedIn platform, for Microsoft, because, this is part of my KPI every single month. And so my manager tracks all of these LinkedIn courses, which I do. I was just merely making an example to say, Gucci, this is every time you finish these courses on LinkedIn Learning, it updates your LinkedIn profile. And for people that particularly are in the, the job front, employers primarily look at LinkedIn as the recruitment portal more than any other portal, and this is global. So I hope I've answered the accreditation question.
Thank you very much, Stoff. And yes, that then means, ladies and gentlemen, you can be able to use the courses in any other industry. But let's just remember something, which is, I think, is quite important. The reason why we have started with you in the radio, in the community radio space, is because we really want you to take up the courses, do them, so that you can then be able to talk about them on air and talk about the opportunity to other people that have not yet registered. So it's a twofold. One is it's a personal development path where you yourself are going to be personally developed by learning new skills that are digital, but it's equally a way of saying, once you have been able to at least get registered, see the courses, the next time you're on air, talk about these courses that are available, because they are literally available to every citizen of the Eastern Cape. So we are not in essence choosing as a people. We're in essence reaching out to the 6 million people that are in the province. And obviously those that are in school, we've got a specific path for them. Those that are at work, we've got a path for them. And those that are looking for employment, we've got a path for them. And those that are in business, we've got a path for them. And those that own ICT businesses, we also have a path for them. So there's a path literally available for just about everyone to meet the needs that you have as a person for self-development. And this, in essence, ladies and gentlemen, is what this is about. The entire initiative is about making sure that we have a digitally and educated citizenry that is literate around digital platforms, and a citizenry that can be able to in essence, exploit new opportunities for advancement, new opportunities for learning. Alime Bendienda Kunota earlier on. Alime, you can come through.
Okay, Molweni, igama lam Alime. Okay, my name is Alime Kyubula. I am a station manager of Kumgani FM in East London. I think part of what I wanted to ask, it has already been addressed, because I was going to write on accreditation as to then say, upon me trying to register while I'm attending, unfortunately, then at the time I could not find the course library, but it then appeared a bit later on. And let me also attest to the fact that it is not difficult to register on those courses. However, let me also do indicate that it is a bit overwhelming to access this information on a small device such as a cell phone. Just to add on the resources that Mrs. Pam was raising, the point of resources that she was raising. Let me also indicate that upon your registration, I was asked as to where did I hear about this, and unfortunately, Access is not listed amongst the companies that are there. They have about 44 companies that I need to point, and now I was forced to lie, and I decided to choose Stats SA, unfortunately, because I heard about this on Access, but Access is not listed there. Thirdly, let me also request assistance. I am interested to learn or know more about cloud storage, just a credible platform where I can store stations information for everyone to be able to access, whether I'm still here as a station manager or I'm not here, but we have that library that is available just at a global space. And if then there's a training to actually assist us to store information in a much more professional way. And if then there is an alternative, I'm not sure whether to call it a software, but Mr. Stofile will guide me, where we can even use to store the recordings of the broadcasting that we do at our local community radio stations. I thank you.
Thank you very much, Ms. Jubul. Stoff, before you come in, let me just check. Orabile, were you able to get that question, if I may ask?
Shadaz, is it the question around
storage
on the cloud and all that?
Yes. Yes.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes, I can. Yes, we can hear you.
Okay. All right. Do you want me to respond to it now, or later?
No, please do respond if you can.
Put me on the spot.
It's deliberate.
Okay. Good morning again, colleagues. Yeah, my name is Baphelele Mhlaba, yes. Hold it. And my responsibility is in the the data space. I'm a data warehouse engineer for ECRF. So I think the question for UCC, it's a relevant question. But you know how we look at these things. Cloud is like, the very first question would be, are you organized locally before we even talk of cloud, you know? And then what is actually cloud then? You understand? So as soon as, if it was me who was going to help you to maybe reconfigure your platform so that you are able to save on the cloud, then the question is, how then are you saving your information at the current moment? How are you saving that information in the shared folders, you know? That can be done on like your network drives and all that, because then the cloud is just the space and the location. But then how you save that, it hasn't really to change. And then also, when we think of cloud, for sure, you've got a Gmail account. But what is then Gmail? Gmail is actually a cloud space. You understand? So yes, Azure has a different, maybe your OneDrive and all that. But how we think of it, it hasn't really to be that different from what we're understanding from then Gmail. So organize your stuff locally, and then we migrate you to the to cloud space. I don't know if I've captured you properly there, but I can rehash if you want me to.
No problem.
No.
Thanks, Baphelele. Stoff?
Thank you, Chair. So I think the first question was specifically talking to to cell phone access. So I mean, I mentioned earlier on around the Microsoft Community Training Platform, and that one is geared towards your mobile devices in the sense that you can either access it online or offline. Secondly is that it's very much videos based, but we've made sure that the bandwidth requirements, it's very much low bandwidth videos, basically what we've done. So yeah, so I think I mean it's look, let me address the second question of overwhelm, right? Now the reality is that like it's almost like umdana going into a shop, yes, sweetie. And you are, there's a lot which could be done, right? In my mind, in my view, that's why we've gone into, for an example, the demo, and also have gone into the course library, so that you've got these things which are listed. Then all you do is you go and click on the one that you want. This is why there's the course library. This is why we did this this particular demo. So I think that one is, the proof is in the pudding. You have to play around. Unfortunately, you have to play around. But I've just given you, I think, what is a more simplified way, meaning that looking at the course library, and also the learning pathways. I think the issue of cloud storage has been addressed. But just to make an example, for us here at work, so because I mean we are Microsoft, and so all meetings, everything is we store it in OneDrive. We store it in OneDrive from documents and those things, the SharePoint technology. So you'll never be short of e-technology. There I can guarantee you. What I think needs to happen is that your people that are in IT, it's their responsibility to go and research, one, what is available. Secondly, what is the requirement on your side, and then make sure that they're able to provide a comprehensive solution for that, because we can say, there's a number of solutions that are out there, but it has to be fit for purpose and it has to be in line with what your requirements are. I hope I've answered what I captured as the 3 questions.
Stufile, open legile.
I don't know if you've noticed my hand, Chair.
Yeah, yes, I have noticed your hand. I just thought, let me just allow Ms. Stufile to answer, but you can come in, Mr. Martin.
Okay, thank you, Chair. No, this is really back to the question around cloud storage and advice on cloud storage, which Arabile and Stoff have actually responded to adequately. But I want to emphasize as a sort of advice to the question that we get stuck in technology hypes, and ultimately you have to think what you want to do storage, what you want to achieve with your storage, and if it is fit to take it to the cloud. Is it the required solution? And if it is, do you have the expertise to support you for that? Because there's the solution and what you want to achieve, and then there's the technology, and those are 2 different things, and we don't have to always jump following hype. So you do have to think about that. Yes, cloud has its benefits, but you have to think that internally you have the support, the resources to help you deal with that. That was just my bit of advice, because it's a mistake that's done a lot.
All right, thank you, Mr. Martin. Colleagues, I do want to indicate that I have overrun the session by 11 minutes. I do know that we started slightly late. In fact, we started 7 minutes after we were scheduled. We are now sitting at 11:42. But I really honestly do not want to close out anyone who still wants to engage. So I'm gonna give the last round of hands for anyone who wants to ask a question, so that we can be able to attend to that question. It's been an interesting, I think, platform to share ideas and to be able to look at this digital training and digital skills from a community radio perspective, and highlighting and obviously understanding the challenges that you are facing. Side, I note your hand. Ungaza Mhlekazi.
Good morning to everyone. My name is Sine and I'm from Alfonso Community Radio. Because we've been experiencing network problems, is there any way that maybe someone can get the recording of the seminar, of the webinar, if there's a way? That's where my problem is, because some of the things we've missed because of the network problem. Thank you.
Enkosi Sine, no, definitely you'll be able to get the recording. We do have it available, and we'll be able to send it to you a link so that you can be able to download it and listen to it over again from where you sit. Dr. Majibi, is there any last word that you can be able to give as an advice to this platform before Siva le session yanamhlanje?
Thanks, Chair. I think from my side, it's a good start to market at least the training that is being provided by the province in conjunction with ECRF. So I would just like to say thank you, Stoff, and thank to you, Chair, and your unit in presenting the way forward, and we're looking forward for the new financial year for each and every citizens of the province to be at least on par when it comes to digital training. Thank you.
Enkosi Dr. Majebi. Dr. Majebi is an IT specialist here at ECRF. He's been in the province and he's very knowledgeable on issues that relates to IT and the space. Maybe you've seen some of his writings, but I thought that let me give him an opportunity to say something before Sotlugan. Let me, as I can, reiterate that my good thanks to you for spending the morning with us and, as I said, exchanging ideas, exposing each other to what is available, looking for opportunities for collaboration, and making sure that in that space, umsebenzi wethu singabanye abantu abaninzi is not just to focus on self-development, but self-development is quite important because it is normally said that awukwazi ukhomba indlela ongazange wayihamba. You're not really going to be able to get that far if you talk about something that you have not you yourself experienced. You may read a book and talk about what you've learned in the book. We're giving you an opportunity today to just experience digital learning or exposition to digital skills. These courses that are available, you would have noticed that Mr. Stofile kept reference to LinkedIn, and LinkedIn is just one of those platforms that are quite important from a social media presence, especially from a career development perspective to join and be part of, so that you can be able to track and get to as well be on par with industry development in your space, and collaborations within the people that have got similar interests in various sectors. I do want to, as I said, conclude the session, but as I do that, Ian did ask an important question, and I hope that the number has now been shared on the chat group. And colleagues, I do also want to say, we do not necessarily have everyone's email and everyone's number, but if there's something specific that you want us to share, please drop us your email on the chat group, so that we can then be able to keep engaging and keep the conversation opened. We will, as we committed during the session, that we'll definitely have a sidebar with Nozewu, who's basically representing the forum, and then take up some of the, I think, challenges and limitations that you've highlighted to us, and see how we are going to be assisting to address some of them. We may hope at times that we are in a position to solve all problems, but unfortunately, life is such that you are able to solve some, and some may not necessarily be able to be solved at the time when ofuna into abazisombululwe ngazo ingxaki. And I do note, I think Ms. Jubula puts this quite succinctly, and she says part of the experience definitely has to be about getting into this at least with a bigger device. I cannot also imagine how it would be to always use a cell phone when you must study, and I understand these limitations are real. So we note those kind of things, and as much as cell phones are used to communicate, we use them equally as devices to do more than just communicate. And if you've got a cell phone, let's start there. But as we say, we've noted the requests for a better experience at this, which is in the main, is to say, how do we collectively assist each other with laptops? How do we assist each other maybe with tablets? How can we be able to get better connectivity in the spaces that you are in. And because this is part of the experience that we really want to introduce to community radio stations, as well as to the communities that you serve. So ultimately, colleagues, this is about the communities that we all serve. We owe them service delivery, you owe them information, you owe them knowledge, you owe them a lot more in terms of ensuring that they stay on par, that they are part of the development of the country. They are not left behind from a news perspective. They are not left behind from a number of other things that are happening in this country. So we do honestly want to thank you for your time. I would have really wanted to hear every voice this morning. But as I said, we must not pretend as if this is the last time we are going to be engaging. Today we've engaged on a webinar. Tomorrow we'll probably engage in a different space, because as I indicated, we must be able to take the information to better and to basically not even necessarily better, but to different platforms. We need to take the information to platforms that people can have access to. And somebody who's using Facebook is different to somebody who's using Twitter, and may necessarily be different to someone who actually relies on YouTube and all of these other communication platforms that we use to disseminate information. So Stoff, let me thank you for making the time this morning and showing us a few things around the initiative. Ladies and gentlemen, this is a global skilling initiative. We are inviting you to join the world in terms of participating in this program. This is not just the Eastern Cape, it's not just South Africa, it's not just Africa, but it's the entire world. The kind of initiative that you've been part of and you've been invited to participate is a global skilling initiative, and we really wish you could all of you register, experience the gremlins if you're experiencing them, experience the challenges, get in touch with us, talk to us so that we can continue to walk the path with you. My time is 11:52. We had asked for your indulgence until 11:30. I think it is fair to say thank you very much for your time, and until we meet again, please do continue to have a better Tuesday, and hopefully that you will change a life today and continue doing good in the space that you own, that you are in. Thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen. Our session is over. Thank you very much.